Is there anything that you do to save extra money, or do you go all out? Do you just save so you can go all out for your trips and you don't spare any cost?
No, I think I will always be frugal. I will always have the refugee mindset.
What?
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
For a license?
Yeah.
Pang.
They don't want you to drive.
Pang.
Like
You're telling me to get a driver's license.
I think that's a little bit high.
Is almost 100,000 American dollars.
I can't. When you travel, or when you go overseas and you start going to other countries, you will hear people either say they absolutely. Like American tourists, they can spot them from like a mile away because they're loud and they walk into places and they just start talking and they're like, "Good morning," like, "What do y'all have here?"
Oh my God, I'm embarrassed.
A lot.
Hey guys,
if it's crazy.
All right, go now.
Wait.
Get out of there! Oh my God!
Hey guys, welcome to the Family Mess. I'm Noah, and have a nice day.
Good God!
I love the Family Mess. Oh.
Welcome to the Family Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ian, and this is my wife and co-host, Nathalie. The Family Mess, the podcast about life with kids and all things adulting. Let's talk. Nathalie, let's get this done tonight because I'm tired. I was trying to go to the gym and it's 8:45. But we have our first, is this our first or second guest?
You asking the wrong chick.
But before we introduce her, let's go a recap about some things that we've recent things in the news or whatever, stuff that we've looked about.
You can introduce our guest.
Do I introduce her first or after we go?
What if she wants to say something?
Oh, our guest today is, I hope I pronounce her name.
Pang.
What's her last name? Let me see it right here.
Van.
What? What is it?
Van.
What?
Isn't it it's Pang Van, right?
Hello?
Yes, it's Pang Van.
Pang. Today we have Pang Van.
Good thing she's a friend of mine because you just butchered the girl's name.
I did. I'm sorry. Pang, forgive me. I apologize.
I'm in the right place, right?
I apologize
forgot
for
her
that.
name and everything.
This is Natalie's friend from childhood, really. And
yes, from middle school.
Yeah, she decided to join us on the podcast today and to ask her about growing up in the States and moving here from she was young.
No, she's talking about her life living overseas. She moved her family from America with her husband overseas, and they've lived all over the place, they travel all over the place. I have to sit there envious through Facebook.
I don't know why she's envious. I mean, it's just I enjoy watching her adventures. I think it's great. So that's what the show today is. She's going to tell us about her adventures.
Yeah, man. How they took off care, how they got the opportunity to go overseas.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear this. I'm looking forward to it.
A lot of families want to live overseas and they don't know how.
Oh gosh.
Or how to begin or what to do or how the experience might be, so she can talk about it.
That's all you talk about is living overseas, moving away.
Oh, one day.
But before we go, so I was recently looking at this Netflix series on spying. I forgot the name of it. It won't be long, but it was about the things countries would do to spy on each other.
Yes, spies are everywhere.
And the best part I found about the whole thing, of course, you're going to think I'm a pervert after saying this.
Of course.
There was a scene with this woman she was a spy from Russia, and she came to the States and she befriended all these like men that were up in these spy agencies. Mm-hmm. And after she was caught, we talked about this today, and after she was caught, the investigators told them, hey, she's a spy for the Russians and she's stolen American secrets. Would you still go out with this woman again after what you know? And all the men said yes, they would go out with her again. Even after knowing she was a traitor.
And you're intrigued by this because you would want to be seduced by a Russian
no.
spy.
Listen. I'm intrigued by this because of what the men said. All the men said we would go out with her in a heartbeat pretty much because she never says no. That's what all the men said.
She doesn't say no to what, Ian?
Sex or whatever they want. That's the whole point. The whole point of that is that the men didn't care. They don't care about trade secrets or American secrets going to other countries.
That's why women are men's kryptonite.
Yeah, but the show was about men that would they would send men to get women. Also, it worked both ways. It didn't just work one way; it worked both ways. They'd have men marry women, fake marriages to these women to think that they're having this guy, and it's crazy.
Well, there's truth to all those crazy movies.
Yeah, it runs deep, man. It runs deep. Golly.
What Netflix show was that called?
I forgot the name of it. I'll remember it when I'll look it up on the computer or something. But I saw it earlier in the year. I didn't watch it, but I started watching it again. Oh. And it was very interesting. So I just thought Do you have anything to add to the conversation today?
No, because everything for you always boils down to sex. So they just
did you hear how my wife
confirms your feelings?
Did you hear what you just said about me? That is not true, by the way.
That just confirms your feelings.
That is not
That's
true.
That's why you were so intrigued by that one.
Well, I'm intrigued.
One tidbit out of that whole show was that the men will do anything for the poo-tang. That was your one thing.
That's
in the
one.
show.
No, it's amazing because after everything they've done, they're going through this espionage and all these secrets of these countries. And these men are like, oh, we'll go out with her. We don't even care what she did. We don't care if she's a spy or that she's stolen secrets from the United States.
Balls.
The men are pretty much thinking with their balls, I guess. And I was very surprised. I didn't think men would really be that low.
I'm not surprised.
I wouldn't do that, though.
Yeah. Really?
No, I wouldn't. Yeah. There's no way. If I know she was a spy, I wouldn't date her again. I might lie on camera, but...
He'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't date her. But then he'd be like, hey, girl, come on. You know that's what you do.
You don't know me, woman.
Oh, I know you.
You don't know the hell. Get out of here. But you have anything else you want to talk about?
Not as far as current events.
Oh, well, you do have something you want to talk about is your 5 minutes a pound. How's that going?
It's not going. I was supposed to start this 75 strong, and I've had like a mental break, like I'm just mentally drained. So I had to kind of lay low for a few weeks and have a therapist appointment so I can get my brain back. Yeah, I had to take a mental break. I didn't have the mental capacity to start that.
I didn't do
so what I did was I started doing some of the things so I could prepare for when I actually start doing it. So like I've been doing my 20 gratitudes almost every day. I did miss a couple of days.
Oh God!
But I've been doing my 20 gratitudes, and I would do 20 things that I appreciate about myself. I would do those.
I probably need to do that now because I was supposed to get abs.
Oh yeah, we about to start because I gotta start. I just have been.
I've been waiting for you to start, but I think I probably need to start because
my mental was not there.
Pang, this is horrible.
It's not easy. Is it 5 pounds that you said?
Well, it's my 5 minutes of pounds. Yeah. That's our little segment. It's our 5 minutes of pounds. Like I usually talk about my weight loss or attempted weight loss every week, and it's not going well. But that's why I'm trying to do this 75 strong thing to, kind of give me another something challenge myself. But my mental wasn't there, so I had to wait. But I'm going to get back on it.
And Pang, she talks about losing baby weight for the last 12 years. That's what she talks about.
Yes, I know. My son's 12.
If you want somebody to do it with you, I'll do something with you.
See,
you want to do? Well, I have a couple of people too. But I have to get them back on the bandwagon. So
everybody fell off.
Well, I texted them. Well, one person I texted her, I didn't know her phone was broken. I'm like, why? And I heard from her, and then I call her. She's like, "Oh, my phone's been broken
she's
for
dodging.
3 weeks."
Right.
Yeah, she's dodging.
I changed my number.
That's right.
I changed my number, and I threw my phone in the water. And
so I'm definitely gonna. If you're interested in doing it, because basically you do 20 things of gratitude, 20 things that you appreciate about yourself. You have to read 15 minutes. Something nonfiction, and you have to meditate for 15 minutes a day. This is all every day. And then you work out.
A lot of time.
Yeah. And then you work out that's the whole thing. It's like a mental push. Like it's to get you to that next level in your life, like that discipline and that regimentation.
But what if I'm already there and I just want to lose the weight?
Oh, well, then all the better. Then do the weight part. And then you have to eat healthy, and then you have to exercise 2 days. And then every third day you stretch.
Man, I need to.
Yeah, see, I'm too lazy for all that stuff.
You can go walk.
I'm just, because if I know that there's that much stuff that I have to do, it feels like a laundry list of things. Right?
But it is. But that's the whole point,
so
though.
Then I'm just like, keep it simple.
It's the discipline. Say, hey. That's the whole point. You having all these things, and you're pushing yourself, and you're pushing your discipline to accomplish all of these things every day, and still do all your other stuff. That's the whole point.
Oh my gosh! Don't you think that we as women and wives and mothers and sisters and friends, don't you think that's enough jobs for us?
I do.
Natalie's always trying to torture herself.
But I'm trying to get myself that next level, with my discipline and stuff. And so, and also like my weight loss and all that kind of thing. So, and I'm trying to change my mindset. Like I've been working on it, and I was just watching a documentary today. Actually, it's called Heal, about how your mind runs your body. Like you can, when people, like some of these people on here had like stage 4 cancers, and they changed that. Like they changed, and part of it was their mindset. Right. They weren't like victims. They had a different mindset and how that mindset can help you to heal. It's like this basically talking about like a placebo effect, how you know, people take the medicines and they think it's helping, but it's really their mind that's making them feel better. Right. So that it's basically, it was a whole documentary. I didn't get to finish watching it, but I watched a little bit of it today. So
you did watch something today. See, I asked you earlier, you watched something, you said no.
What do you mean?
I told you what I watched on Netflix and you're like, oh, I didn't do nothing today. So you did do something today.
But I wasn't really watching it. I was doing other stuff, but it was on. So I did like sit and watch about 10 minutes. And I'm like, you know what? This is actually something good that I want to watch. So I had to turn it off because I can't work and do it at the same time. So I had things that I was trying to focus on. So I had to turn it off. But I usually have like the TV on makes for sound in the background. But usually it's something I've already seen. So I'm not really watching it. But that one was a little much.
Oh, well.
So.
All right. Well, that's end your 5 minutes a pound. I hope something good comes out of this and that you get.
Yeah, I'm about to start February. We're going to start February, Ian. You got one more week.
I'm fine. I just want to do something. So.
Well, one more week, or you can start before me. I can watch you torture yourself.
Oh, I never torture myself. I'm good. I can get right back to where I need to be. I'm just, my mind is lazy right now. That's all.
Oh yeah, and the diet. You got to do the diet part.
Yeah.
So that's where you lose the weight. You can pick whatever eating plan you want or however you want to eat.
Hard.
But you have to basically clean eat. That's the major part.
When I was bodybuilding, it was so much easier because I just did it every day. Now I have to go back to that mind. It's a mindset. It really is a mindset to do that. It's very difficult to go back to that because I enjoy this bad food I'm eating.
Yeah, but you know, like, so my husband, he actually is great at working out. Like, he's just, when he goes to the gym, like, you know, he's just there. Like, he's present, right? He's not thinking about anything else. And then he comes home and he's totally fine. And then he eats whatever he wants to eat. And yet he looks great, right?
Yes.
And I could do exactly the same thing.
Wait a minute. You're saying your husband doesn't have a dad bod?
He doesn't have no.
Oh.
But he doesn't. What do you mean? He doesn't have a dad bod, like, you know, like a
the
bear
pot,
belly?
the pot belly, you know.
No. No, but he's not. But I think it's also genetics, you know. But I also think it's men. Like, you know, he's always like, "Hey, you want to go out to the gym with me?" And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my gosh, I still have laundry to do, and I have to cook some dinner.
Peng!
And I gotta go pick up the boys. I have all these things." And he's like, "Okay, I'm going. Bye."
Oh, Peng, you gotta go with him. You gotta go into the gym.
I know that, but he's just like, well, just go with me. It'll only take like 30 minutes. We'll be right back. And that's all it's a mindset for guys. I mean, most men I know that work out.
Is your husband vain?
It is.
Ian said it's all about your vanity. And if you're not vain, then that's why you're not in the gym. If you don't have any vanity.
No, I mean, he doesn't go. Vain, yeah. But just he doesn't go enough to like be like super like buff. I mean, 30 minutes, like 3 times a week. I don't think that's very much to ask for. And that's what he's like, he just goes because it makes him feel good. It stretches him out and and then he can come home and eat whatever he wants to eat. And then he doesn't gain any weight. I'm like, I hate you.
Well, that's men just have it like that. Women, we don't have it like that. Even if we were to go, we'd go. And once we get home, we eat one thing and we put on 5 pounds.
No, I think it's a mental thing still.
It is. It is a mental thing because even when I'm there and I'm working out, I'm not really present.
See?
I'm thinking, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do next? I can't really just enjoy my workout.
Peng, you have to let it go and enjoy the workout. That's how you get the benefits of it. When you let your mind clear and you just do the workouts.
Is that what happens?
That's right.
I call you Beaver's mom. So is that what happens because you're Beaver's mom?
Let's do the introduction now because we're getting into the show already. So go ahead, Natalie.
Well, yes. I'd like to welcome our guest, Peng, today. Peng, I asked Peng to come on the show. One, because like Peng and I haven't talked we've rekindled our friendship through Facebook.
I like Peng.
But we hadn't spoken in quite a few years.
Peng is very cool.
Because I left the same school as her in 10th grade. And I hadn't really talked. I think, I hadn't talked to her since probably 10th. I saw you once. I think I saw you at prom.
Years or something.
Yeah, I saw you at the prom.
Oh, that's a long
but I hadn't seen you like since. And then somehow we reconnected on Facebook. And then we've been chatting over the last couple of years or so. And I've been following her all over the world and all of her her photos that she posts. So they've lived. Where have you lived? I saw you lived in. No, it wasn't. Where were you?
Singapore.
No, she was in Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah. And where else?
Yes.
New Orleans.
And we went to New Orleans.
And you lived in Singapore too?
And our home base is here in Houston.
Okay. So
you're in Houston now. Okay.
Okay, so you lived...
That's a place to visit now, Natalie.
Hold on now. So you lived in Singapore, and you lived in Netherlands, and you lived in... What was the other one?
In New Orleans.
New Orleans.
And or that's in America. I mean, but
Did you live in Iceland?
No, but
overseas.
I consider New Orleans that was quite different. I've lived in a lot of different places in the U.S. And New Orleans is so different.
Right.
It is the people there, the food, the culture. It's crazy. It's beautiful. It does not feel like the United States.
How many,
okay.
Natalie? How many times have you been in New Orleans, Natalie?
Just
Do you
once
remember?
years ago. So Peng is a mom of 2 boys. That's why I call her Beaver's mom.
Yes.
She is a stay-at-home mom, and she's married and has a husband, and they've lived overseas with their family, with their children, and your boys are twins.
Yes.
Cute kids. So what was I gonna? Oh, my first thing. I had a thing I was gonna tell you. Then I had a brain fart.
What's it like living overseas? That's what you're going to say.
No, that's not what I was going to say. Oh, so Peng, how was the decision made for you guys to move overseas? Is that something that you guys have always wanted to do?
Yeah, okay, so my husband works for an oil and gas company, and that's always been kind of I think that, a lot of people ask, like, how do you get expatriate jobs? What does that mean? And how do I go overseas? And you don't necessarily need to work for a big company. But if you do, they also need to be global, right? You can't just work for like a local, mom and pop shop and then expect that they're going to send you to Paris to learn how to bake a cookie or something. So what happens is that
we'll edit that.
Natalie says you shouldn't say the name, but I don't think it matters.
Sorry.
But I'll edit it out.
We'll edit it out.
Now I gotta go figure out where that is in there.
Just say working for a company.
Yeah, the gas company's fine.
Or just a company.
So the oil and gas company. So what they do is that for different people, depending on how it is that they're, grooming the person, there are opportunities if they need international experience, then what they'll do is they'll send their people overseas to get that experience. And usually it's for a couple of years, and it can be extended, but it's quite expensive, especially for American expats. We are the most expensive expats out there.
Why is that?
Well, because our wages and our just cost of living is much higher than everybody else's. And so when a company sends a person and their family overseas, several opportunities to go overseas, but he was and he would tell me about them, right, when we were living here in Houston, and he would hey, they've offered me this job, but I turned them down. I'm dude. Why? Let's go, and he's like, no, it's not the right job. It's not the right job. Right. And so he's also thinking, what's the next job after that and the job after that. Right. He's always thinking 2 jobs ahead. So he finally got this opportunity, and it was a job either in London or Singapore. And of course I was just we're going to London. Right.
I'm taking the easy way out.
Yeah. Well, because I'm I don't even know where Singapore is. Right. And if that's in Asia, I have no interest in Asia because I'm Asian. Dude,
Peng, wait a minute, hold on.
Come on, Peng, are you serious?
You don't want to know anything about your roots or the extended country of where where you're from, the continent.
No, I'm just not. I just was never interested in Asia. It's kind of I don't know. It's it's once you've been to McDonald's, you've been to all the McDonald's. That's what I keep thinking, right? And so
okay, but where have you traveled to in Asia? Have you traveled to Asia before?
Yeah. No. So before Singapore, I'd never been to Asia. And so, of course,
that is so crazy, Peng.
He knew better than I. And so he was like, let's just try Singapore first. And then we can always go back to London because there's a lot more jobs in London, less jobs in Singapore. And Singapore is one of the countries out there that it's where everybody wants to go. And he just luckily was his first.
I've heard good things about Singapore.
How's the food?
Did you have a housekeeper? Because I've heard it's so cheap there that everyone pretty much has a housekeeper and someone who cleans and takes care of their house for them.
Yeah, you can't even. They're not even a housekeeper. They're like second wife. They do everything.
Did you have one when you lived there?
No.
What?
No.
You didn't get the full experience?
No. Well, the thing is that I'm really cheap, right? I'm super frugal.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have Peng on talk about money stuff another day.
So when we moved there, we looked at the package and he explained everything to me, and I was like, okay, so we can either spend this money or we can save it. So he's like, yeah, like they give you, I mean, it's obscene amount of money because it's so expensive to live in Singapore. Like, for example, when we were there, like a driver's license was $100.
How much was that in American?
Yeah. Yeah, in the U.S., they just give it to you for free. It's like, what, $5?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much is like 1,000 was in
What's
Singapore?
the exchange rate? Yeah.
Oh, the exchange rate is so maybe it was like, I don't know, like US dollars.
What?
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
For a license?
Yeah.
Pang.
They don't want you to drive.
Pang.
Like yeah.
You're telling me to get a driver's license
I think it's a little bit high.
is almost 100,000 American dollars.
Yes. I can, and let alone like, even just like getting a car and getting insurance, like really that
So did
country,
you guys have a car and a car?
No. So all the allowance money, everything that they gave us for cost of living there and everything, I pocketed. I was just like, dude, we're saving money. I'm walking everywhere. I'm just going to take the bus. I'm going to take a taxi. I'm going to take the train. I don't care what I take. I'm saving every penny. Right?
I like you, Pang. I like you.
So once you got, let's just talk about your first stop. So once you got to so it was his job that got you to be able to move overseas. So once you get there, like, how do you move your family? Like, how did you tell your kids?
Acclimate?
Yeah, and like, how do you get used to the environment of all these new people, all the cars, all the? I know it's a busy city. Where in Singapore were you exactly?
Oh, we were on Orchard. We were literally right in Singapore. I mean, Singapore is the city and the country, right?
Okay.
And so, I mean, we lived right on Orchard Road, which is like, Main Street, USA, right? Wow. It was like right in center.
So you're like in the city living.
Yeah, I mean, we lived in a high rise, and most people live in high rise. They live in these in flats that are, because the island is very small. Like, it's only, you can drive I think it's only like 28 kilometers across. Like, it's super, super small.
So how do you meet people once you got there? Like, how do you get friends and stuff? Because you're like the friend like guru of how to meet friends.
Most people, there is, whenever it is that a company is moving you, they usually have other expats that are there. There's also a big expat community, and they're everywhere, even in the city that you're living in.
But
right?
how do you find
Orlando,
those communities?
So for us, we found them through the company. The company actually, they have liaisons there that will help you get acclimated. They help you do all your residency paperwork. They do everything for you, all the government stuff, especially like in Holland, in the Netherlands, everything was in Dutch. So if you don't read Dutch or you don't speak Dutch, you can't do anything, right? Unless there's somebody there helping you translate everything.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah. And so wait, hold on real quick. So that's one of the things I've always wondered. So when a company moves you overseas and it's in another country with another language and you don't speak the language, how the heck do you do your job?
Well, they have the HR people there that are already there to help you. So what my job is to do all the stuff outside of Viet's job. Like, he goes in, and the thing is that for him, he always said, it was always easier for him because he moves from one office to another office, and usually the language of business is English, and in Singapore it is English.
Interesting.
And even in Holland, the language of business is English, right?
Oh.
So for him, the transition is relatively pretty simple.
See, I had no idea that people spoke a lot of English. I thought you had to learn I just finished watching Emily in Paris, and they were,
what?
It's a show on Netflix.
God, come on.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Pang?
No,
no, I've seen the
yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Previews.
Yeah, so she moves to Paris, and of course she doesn't speak English, and they're all like, "Oh, you speak no French," and they hate her because she doesn't speak French, and they yell at her about it. So,
well, it just depends on the country that you move to. I mean, some countries like Germany, we've had expat friends that moved to Germany, and they will not speak English. They want you to learn German, and so they give you like 6 months, like hardcore, like crash course of German.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it kind of depends, but like in China, you will have to speak some Chinese.
Oh yeah, I can imagine in China. They ain't messing. They ain't messing around. They don't want that Western stuff up in there.
Yes. But unless you're working, and the thing is that with expats, with expatriates, they are all kinds. So it's not just necessarily a company. So like Natalie, you were saying, how do you get over there? It's not always a company. Like you can be a teacher. Like we've got a good friend. And can I say her name? I don't know.
Well, it depends if she wants you to say her name. Yeah, we had a friend too that she did teaching in.
Yeah.
She did it in Colombia, like in the country.
Do they need engineers?
In Colombia, she did. They just need teachers, like in general, to teach English.
Yeah.
So she taught in Colombia, and I forgot where else she may have went. I think in Thailand. In Thailand, she was a teacher. So yeah, I know a lot of people do the teaching thing.
Yeah, if you're a teacher, I mean, it is not easy, but it is there are a lot of opportunities for English-speaking teachers. It doesn't have to be English. I mean, like you don't have to teach English. You can teach math, science, whatever. But all these international schools, every big city in the world have international schools, private international schools where all these expatriates they send their children to, right, to continue curriculums.
So your kids went to like an American school in Singapore?
That's right. Correct.
Really?
And they spoke English? They didn't teach them like the
They didn't
language?
teach them the native language?
No, they went to Singapore American International School, but they also have to speak. They also have a language that you have to take is Mandarin. So they take Mandarin during the day.
Okay, so they do learn the native language.
They take Mandarin in
do.
Singapore?
But that's just like a class. But not most of the day is spent speaking in English, but they take a class for Mandarin. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. So you've got a lot of and they're not just Americans. They're like British and they're Australians and anybody who speaks English. Like, lots of people and lots of teachers who just speak English, even if they're not, from English speaking countries. Because
sorry, Peng, we had a little technical issue.
We lost you for a second there, Peng. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
No, sorry about that.
Yeah, so my boys, they started speaking with a very, with a British accent. They started speaking with with an Australian accent, and they would speak with, a Chinese accent. It was very strange.
Oh wow,
right?
that is interesting.
Yeah, but it was very cool. I mean, because that's their environment every day. And they were young, so they pick up everything. And in their classes, they had kids from all over the world, and so it was just a very unique opportunity for them to always be around things that changed, and for them, it's normal.
How did you make friends over there?
That's a really good question. So going back to being an expat. There are some people who really enjoy the challenge of being in a different country. And then there are some people who just absolutely hate it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, people are people. Everyone's going to be a little
God, I would love to do something different.
You think you would at first.
Yeah.
It's a little it could be overwhelming.
It is overwhelming because especially if you're so we call them like I was a trailing spouse, right? So that means that I may or may not necessarily even be able to work in the country that we're in, only because they want to reserve those jobs for the locals, right?
Correct.
So it's not fair
That's
that
correct.
you bring in all these other people and they've got all the jobs. And so I was not able to work in Singapore. So there's, I met people who landed in Singapore and they left Singapore before even their stuff, the ship that was bringing the container of their stuff landed. And they were like, dude,
Why did they hate it? Why did they hate it so
They didn't
bad?
even give it a chance.
But why
No,
did
they didn't.
But what made them
because
not like it?
I think it's because the cost of living is so high, or maybe they didn't like the food. I mean, food is a really big thing for people. Like I didn't realize this until we started moving overseas and traveling. People just like if you can't find your like, especially Americans, and I hate to say this,
Especially
Americans
definitely
are the
Americans.
worst.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
agree with that.
I mean,
Everywhere's got to have a hamburger or something.
Hamburger, pizza, fries.
pizza, like just like and the pizzas have to look like pizza. They can't be just I mean, like if you go to Italy, pizza doesn't look like pizza.
No, it doesn't.
So it's very it's different. And so with all these different changes, and especially making friends, I mean, usually it's women who are trailing spouses. And so it's great because you've got almost like a built-in community of women who are experiencing exactly the same things you're going through. And so they're super welcoming. And so once you plug into the expat community, you've got this whole slew of like friends. and it's just, and they're all there, and they're all like, just come, like all the ladies are going to brunch and whatever and whatnot, because nobody can work, right? And so all the kids are in school, and everybody has a helper. That's what they call them in Singapore, which is a live-in woman usually that takes care of everything. She cooks, she cleans, she watches the kids, she accepts the packages, she does everything. She does all the shopping. And so the wives are very free to kind of do what they want to do, right?
Wow.
And yeah, it's a really nice living in Singapore, and this is the reason why it's one of those like places where everybody wants to go, but it's super expensive for companies to send people there.
So what's like the weirdest thing when you lived in Singapore that you either saw or happened to you?
Weirdest thing. The weirdest thing was the very first morning when we first landed, right? We landed like 2:00 in the morning. And then I was so excited to see the city because I was like, I've never been to Asia. I'm so excited to be here, right? And so,
are you sure you were excited? You sure you were excited since you didn't want to come?
I was excited. So I was just like, okay, we're here. Now what, right? And so we like went downstairs, and I was like, okay, let's go downstairs. I just want to walk on the street, and then we'll be right back. And then I want to go back in the hotel, right? And I get outside, and it's just like a sea of like black hair, right? Like people who look exactly like me. And dude, I was like, never in my life have I ever felt so insignificant.
Really?
Like
I was just like, oh my gosh, everybody here looks like me. I was like, don't let go of my hand because you will never find me.
You have to remember, Peng grew up where we grew up, right? And it was mostly, most everybody around us is white.
Yeah, so she stood out.
And her being Asian was very different. I remember there was only one.
Yes.
There was only you and another girl who were Asian in our grade. I think if I remember in middle school, and then there were like 3 black kids in our grade, maybe 5 of us in the same grade, right? So you're used to seeing white people all the time.
Yes.
So now it's like when I went to FAMU and all I saw were black people, I was like, oh my God, there's black people. It was like a whole new thing for me. I got so excited because I'd never seen so many people that look like me in one place. So I definitely understand, what you're saying when you were like, whoa.
No, but I felt so unspecial, if that's even a word. I was just like, no, we gotta go home. I was like, I don't feel special anymore. But it was awesome. I mean, but that was like, I think the first strangest, interesting kind of feeling that I got, But after that, it was just amazing, and like for me, like we've always loved traveling. Like Viet and I, we always traveled even before we left the US. We moved out of the US. I mean, we made sure that we went somewhere every quarter, even when the boys were born.
Wow.
I mean, the very first time we left the boys, they were only 4 months old, and we took a week trip. I think it was like Cancun.
Peng,
Wow.
Beaver's mom would not do that, Peng. So
I'm proud of you, Peng.
Your Beaver mom.
No. That's the best thing you could do. I love it.
Yeah.
I like that
because
crap.
most moms would never dare leave their kid overnight.
Oh, Peng, you're the best.
4 months old.
You're the best, Peng.
No, I mean, like, I love my little IVF babies, but dude, they took so much effort out of me. And like, twins, they literally, I was like, just put them back in. Just put them back in. Can we put them back in? I'm just like, But I mean, my parents were there. Like my parents flew down, and I was like, who else? If I can't trust anybody,
right?
Take care of my boys,
right.
And they were there, and they fed them, and they were so fat when we got back. I'm like, dude, like, what did you guys feed them? And so, but it was great, and you do
good. I'm glad to hear that you actually did that as a mom, because like I said, you hear so many moms who, like, God forbid you leave your kid overnight, before they're a year old or 2 years old. And that's good that you were willing to take that time for you and for your marriage and for your spouse to spend that time together. Cause it is a transition, and it is hard, and it's very stressful. So I know when you got back, it must've helped a lot just to not feel so overwhelmed with everything.
It does. And, and the thing is, I give a lot of credit to Viet, because he always knows what's best for me. And then I give myself credit for listening to him.
So like, okay,
because I do.
So you also lived in Holland. So how was that experience in the
yes. I would like to hear this.
What was the weirdest thing there? Because that's like a lot of
Netherlands.
Yes, Netherlands. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah, and so okay, so it is Holland and it is the Netherlands as well,
Okay.
right? So people in Holland, they say Holland. They usually don't say the Netherlands, but the Netherlands is like the formal, like
That's what the Americans call
like
it.
it's on the
I
map,
know it as
right?
Holland.
Like,
That's how I think of it
if you
first.
Google, you got to Google the Netherlands, but there's a whole history behind it. Living in Holland it was the most wonderful, most beautiful experience.
Did you have
I didn't
tulips
think I
every
was
day?
gonna like it.
Did you have
We
tulips
did.
in your
I,
house
like,
every day?
Tulips were so cheap. They were so
Are you
inexpensive.
serious?
You could
It's tulips.
find- you,
That's
like,
the
yeah.
tulip capital of the world.
Are
Yeah.
you serious? I thought.
I mean-
what? Tulips?
Yeah, like
Yes.
for like $5, you could get like 50, like a
Oh my
bushel of
gosh!
50.
God,
Here,
tulips here are like $50,
no,
man.
it's like five. It's
Yeah.
like $10
For
for five.
Good grief.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it was wonderful. Yeah, I got flowers all the time. Dia always bought me flowers. It was just
and
wonderful.
did your kids went to the same kind of like the expat school in Holland too?
They did. They went to the American school there as well.
Are the
Yes,
people there
they-
really nice? Are they nice paying, like in Holland, the overall population?
Okay, so here's the thing. There's a lot of people who move to Holland and they say, I don't know why people in Holland, they're very honest, right? They're like and most of them speak English, which is also quite brilliant for if you're going to have a place to expat out to, right? The Netherlands is another great place to go. But what was the question?
Are the people nice in Holland?
Oh yeah, are the people nice? Okay, so they're very straightforward. Okay, they don't beat around the bush. They're not very, they're not going to always say, "Oh, good morning," or and all that good stuff. They literally, you just walk up and they're like, "What do you have?" Right? Like that's it. Like there's no like so
And no small talk.
no small talk. And so I always said, they're like the European version of Asians. Like literally they
Interesting.
are the white Asian. Like because if you speak like, and that's how people felt about Asia, is that whether you go to China or Singapore or anywhere you go, maybe not Thailand, because Thailand, they're all very sweet and sugary there, but almost everywhere else, people are not like, they're like, dude, this is
one's
business,
friendly,
like,
right?
come on, right?
I wonder why
And,
that is.
That's just the culture.
It's just the culture, and it's just not like it's not built into us, like to always have nice things to say. Like just, and it's not a waste of time, but it really is a Western thing of politeness and kindness, and
people. Like even even like when I ride my bike or I walk on the trail, certain people will speak and others don't. Like they'll kind of. It's like you could tell it's like a cultural thing.
Interesting.
It's just different types of. There's like all different kinds of people that won't speak, and then there's the people who always seem to speak. And it's usually like a cultural. Like I can usually tell.
It's mostly the Americans that speak, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually they'll give you the nod or they'll say
nod,
hey, they'll
yeah.
wave. It's like that, the joggers polite thing when you're running or you're walking.
I never even.
Oh yeah,
noticed
And
I've
it's
that.
true.
noticed that.
When you travel, or when you go overseas and you start going to other countries, you will hear people either say they absolutely, like American tourists, they can spot them from like a mile away because they're loud and they walk into places and they just start talking and they're like, "Good morning," like, "What do y'all have here?"
Oh my God, I'm
and the thing is
embarrassed.
it's
A lot of that's why a lot of people don't. I hate to say, it, but
Yeah.
a lot of people don't like Americans.
Really?
Tourists.
Yeah.
They don't because they don't respect the cultures
Yes.
where they're going. They
Yeah.
expect everything to be
Yes.
like America, and they
Yeah.
want what America has, even though they're not in America. They don't want to say.
Yes.
They don't want to assimilate.
I think we had a conversation about they were watching like House Hunters. These people, Pang, these Americans that move overseas and they try to buy a house and they ask a realtor, "We need a big house." They go find a house. And they're like, "Oh, this house is too small." And the realtor's like, "This is like one of the biggest houses in this country." But
Yes.
Americans, everything's big for them. When they go to these other
is.
countries, they think other countries should be like them.
Right, instead of just saying, "Okay, I can have a little fridge." If that's what they do here, I'm gonna have a little fridge. But they want the big
Yeah.
fridge because that's what they're used to seeing,
That's
the
right.
big fridge. Yeah,
And that is one of the reasons why people cannot acclimate and they just leave. They're just like, I can't do this. I'm
Gosh.
just going to take the kids home and you can just stay here and travel back and forth.
Oh man.
And there are families that do that as well. It's not, it's not the best thing for families.
No,
but
it's not.
They do,
No, not for a relationship to work long. You can't do that.
So Peg,
it's tough.
I know you've done like a lot of traveling. Can you like name how many like countries and cities and places have you been to? I know you do a lot. I mean, lately the last couple of years you kind of slowed down, COVID. But like I know before that, I mean, you were on a roll.
Iceland.
Like I would be. I saw her Iceland pictures.
I'm jealous.
Where did you go? Was it Peru? Was it you went? Where? No.
Peru was like our last real awesome trip. We went to Machu Picchu.
That's it.
And
that where you had like the vertigo or something.
Yeah, no, I didn't, but I was really because you're so high up, you're
it's the altitude sickness.
Right?
That's what you got, right?
Yeah, the altitude sickness. Vertigo is like real crazy, right? Oh. But we got a little bit of altitude sickness. But if you do your research and stuff, you can pretty much, you got to ease into it. A lot of people, but they rush it, they rush it too fast, and they're like, I just want to get there. But you kind of have to climb up like day after day. Like you got to move from one town to another town to another town. Eventually you get up there.
Oh, okay. You got to acclimate your body to the different altitudes.
Yeah,
so
it
you don't get
acclimates.
Sick.
Yeah.
How high?
But
hold on. How many? We got to get to how many countries?
Damn it.
How many places have you been? And as far as countries and states.
So let's just say the boys are 11. The boys are 11 years old and they've been to 45 countries.
Oh, 45! Yeah. We've only been to none.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, I'm saying, Peng, you traveling, man.
We've not done a damn thing in our lives, man. See what I'm talking about, Natalie?
So Peng, how do you afford? I know you're super frugal. Are there any tips and tricks that you use for when you're traveling with your family, since you have a family of 4, that you use? Hold on, a little technical glitch. Something's wrong with one of our cables. All right. Is there anything that you do to save extra money, or do you go all out? Do you just save so you can go all out for your trips and you don't spare any cost?
No, I think I will always be frugal. I will always have the refugee mindset.
No, I have the money mindset. I'm spending.
Yeah, Natalie be killing people.
I like a little luxury. I definitely
luxury.
I
do. God.
I am not that bad.
Oh God.
Well, the thing is that so Viet, when he travels, he likes to be on holiday. Like he's like, I'm on vacation. I want to be on vacation, right? So then I'm always like, okay, we can be on vacation the way you like it, but I want to get like the lowest price, right? I always want to get the best price. So what I do is that like a year out, I will look at like starting like, for example, like January, I will take a look at the whole year and I will start plotting trips every month, right? Because that's usually how often we travel. We usually travel every month. Right?
Oh my gosh.
And COVID slowed us down so terribly bad, and it really sucks. But we're gonna try to amp it up again soon.
We got to do something with our lives now.
Responsibly. But the thing is that if you can plan like 6 months out, at least 6 months. Yeah, like it's just the flights are so cheap, and hotels, you'll get them at rock bottom prices. You can go stay at like a really nice like 5-star hotel for like, the price that you would pay for staying at a normal, like 3-4 star.
So you said you plan 6 months in advance?
I plan at least 6 months in advance.
Oh, wow.
So I always knew exactly where we were going to go the next like 5-6 countries or 5-6 places, right?
God.
So what about your kids in like school and stuff? How do you handle that?
Well,
now that they're a little older, I know when they were younger it was easier. But...
Well, when they were younger, it was a little bit easier. But I always did this thing called I called it flash traveling because I'm actually I'm a homebody. I get homesick really, really quickly. Like literally, as we're approaching the airport, I already want to go home.
Oh my God.
It's like, I know, it's like I got like Jekyll and Hyde in me. I'm like, oh, stay, go, stay. And so I can only go for like maybe like 5 days and then I got to come home unless it's someplace super far. All right. But usually I lose interest in a place pretty quickly. And the thing is that I always tell people, I just want to go and witness. I just want to go and see how people live, taste some of the food, and then I want to get the heck on out of there because I don't want people to feel like I'm infringing on their, like, I don't want to be them. I just want to see them. Right.
I like that.
And so we would only go like maybe 3-4 nights. And trust me, that's quite enough in like one town.
So wait,
right?
even when you're going for like a fall, like if you're going from America to like Europe or something, you only go for like 4 nights. What about the time difference and all that stuff?
No, so if you plan ahead of time, like you can already start getting yourself on their time a couple of days before you leave. So by the time you get there, you can hit the ground running, right? And it's, I mean, when you're traveling with little kids, it's a little bit more difficult. I don't know how it will be with teenagers because I think I'm just going to leave them at home.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
We just took ours on a weekend trip. We went to Maryland like last weekend. Not this weekend, but the weekend before. We flew into Maryland, but we stayed in Virginia, and then we traveled and we did DC. Basically, we did DC and Virginia. And that was like our kids' like first quick little weekend trip. We left on Friday, came back on a Sunday. And you know, it was good. I did it. I enjoyed it, and the kids liked it a lot. But Ian and I were both like, "Oh my God, you guys complain and are so miserable that maybe the next ones from now on we'll just leave you at home."
Yes, we'll go by ourselves.
It is. Yeah, and see, the thing is that we always tell the boys that we threaten them. We're like, if you guys don't go out and enjoy where we are, you're not coming next time. They're
That's
like,
right.
No, mommy. Well, I'm like, Daddy and I, we're totally fine doing this on our own.
I like
we don't
this.
need you guys here.
Right. That's the same thing we told them.
I like you more, Payne. Yes, you're just like us.
We told ours the same thing. So we're like, y'all get your crap together, or you know what?
You're
shape
staying
up
home,
or ship
man.
out.
I don't need you. I don't need you with me on this trip, man.
Yeah.
Because they always kind of get jealous when Ian and I go off by ourselves. They're always like, you guys always do stuff.
Why do you guys always leave us here? Because you're annoying.
Yes.
God, just give us some
Because
time.
they are.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Peng, what's like, okay, so we're going to wrap up, but what is something, a word of wisdom or a nugget to share with other families out there that are interested in living overseas, or, you know, when you moved, or whatever of your experience that you think was like your big thing, like, oh my gosh, if anyone else does this, I got to tell them this thing. What would that be?
I think that most expats, what we would tell people is that just be open, you know, really. Just if you know you're going to do this, you know it's going to be hard. It's not easy. It really is not for the faint of heart. Just know that it's going to be really crappy, and that the government is not going to, you know, do what you want them to do. And it's going to take you forever to do your paperwork. And you may miss out on the visas, and then you're going to have to come back home, and you're going to, like, it may take a couple of iterations before you can even stay. And then they may kick you out, and then, you know, whatever, right? Lots of things are going to happen. You may get sick over there. You may not like the food, the people, you may not like the people, you know, or the culture, you know, it's okay. You know, like it's not forever. And I think that this is always the mindset that Viet and I, we have, is that, okay, well, we're always willing to try something new. You know, like when they said, hey, do you guys want to go to New Orleans? And I was looking at Viet and I was like, dude, that's like party city. Like, that's not where you take kids to raise them. You know, in my head, that's what I was thinking. But then I was like, you know what? Let's go. Let's just try. You know, Houston's not that far away. If it doesn't work out, as always, if it doesn't work out, we can always go home. Right. And it turned out to be probably the best thing that ever happened to us.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So why?
I mean,
okay, why was that?
Loved
before we wrap up, why was New Orleans like the best thing for you, or for your family?
You know, New Orleans was a nice, you know, it was being back in the U.S. but not in the U.S. You know, it was being around a lot of people, because New Orleans is full of just transient people.
Yeah.
And yet but the local people are also very strange, you know, like strange good, you know, like they just have they have an island mentality.
I saw that alligator hunting show.
They really do. It's just
the Cajun people.
Cajun.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, everybody is so sweet. You are everybody's honey. You know, like, it is awesome. Seriously, like it is such a nice, warm little town. I mean, there's less than 500,000 people that live in New Orleans. It's not a big town at all. And yet it's a super famous like place to go. And so when you're living there, you're just like, wow, you know, like I can see why people never want to leave this place, is that everybody knows everybody, and the food is awesome, and everyone wants to just party. They just want to like hear music and eat. That's all.
Yeah, I hear the
they want
food
to be
there is
outside.
excellent.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
I had the best. Sorry, I won't cut you off. Go ahead, Payne.
No. I mean, you're always going to be trying to diet when you're there.
Oh
but
God, I can't go there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
the
no.
best Cajun omelet ever in my life. And
Natalie gets happy talking about food
it
all
was
the
like
time.
this was back in 2002. I think I went for the Essence Festival.
Yeah.
So me and my friends went for the Essence Festival.
Ah, yes.
And we found this little place. We don't even know where the heck we were, and we were always like, why did we not write that down? But we don't know if it's still there. With Katrina and all that stuff. But it was like the best Cajun. It was like shrimp with like the spice with the seasoning. Like the whatever the seasoning is.
It's Cajun.
seasoning.
Yeah, Cajun.
Cajun seasoning, but in an omelet. Oh my gosh. Like that's the best omelet I've ever had in my entire
You
life.
see how happy she is talking
I
about
am.
food, Pang? Look at
That
She's getting-
omelet was good.
She has a big smile on her face right
I
now.
do.
Her
That
eyes
omelet
are
was-
like small.
That
Yeah.
omelet was tasty. My eyes are closed. I couldn't picture.
I know. She's closing her eyes.
I can see
Imagine
the omelet.
food.
I can see the
You're
little store with
crazy.
the black. It had a black with big glass windows with the black framing.
She doesn't describe me like that.
I remember.
She describes food like that. Oh my God.
Well, I know you guys always talk about traveling and traveling more, on your previous podcasts. And the thing is that, we always tell people, if you don't plan it, you're never going to go. So what you do is that you just pick a place and just say, we're going to go like June 4th through the 12th. We're going to be here, and just book it. And you just plan towards it. And you're like, well, what if we have work? What if somebody is sick? What if? Well, if it is, then by that time you can always change it and move it.
Right.
But most of the time it's not. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to go on that trip. And that's the thing, is that just put it on the calendar and plan towards it.
Yeah, that's all we did. Like
Yeah,
what
that's a
I
good
did was
idea.
For our trip that we took a couple weekends ago was I just went on, I think, kayak. And then also someone told me about Sky Scanner, I think it is. But I just I didn't know where I wanted to go. Like I put my originating airport, and then my destination was I don't know. And then I just found whatever had the cheapest flights. So we went for under $100 each. We had backpacks, literally.
Yeah.
We traveled. We only had backpacks.
Yes.
Backpacks and a jacket. That's all we had for the weekend. We had no check on because we flew Spirit, and then they charge you it'll be like $100 extra for the for a round trip for one carry on. So I'm like, everyone's backpacking. So we were able to, backpack, and we had all that we needed. We packed light, but we had all that we needed. And that's pretty much how we decided to go to Maryland. That was like the cheapest ticket. It was like $90 for each of us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's why we ended up going there.
And the U.S. is the best place to go, especially when you're backpacking or just doing a carry-on.
Yeah.
Because if you forgot something,
you
can always buy it
grab
wherever
Yeah,
you're going.
that's true. You can always find a store somewhere in this country
Yes,
to get
because
something.
all the stores are pretty much the same in every darn state.
Yeah.
So I went to Whole
Yeah.
Foods and got what I
That's
wanted.
right.
At Whole Foods.
There's always a Walmart.
Yes,
Yep.
that too.
There's a
Yep.
Walmart.
Yep,
you
that's
know?
true.
So
That's true. So
it's
thank you
great.
so much, Peng. We appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your
Pang, we want to come
experience.
visit you. I'm serious. I'm so happy right now.
You guys need to come down here as fast as you can get down here. If not, I'll meet you somewhere.
Hey.
I'll meet you anywhere.
Hey, Pang, I took a business trip out to West Texas like a week ago out there. It was about 4 or 5 hours from Houston where I was at.
that's-
He went to Odessa, then flew into Odessa, then went
Yeah.
to somewhere else. So.
Odessa, then
Oh my God.
West Texas, then towards
Yeah.
Dallas a little bit, but look at some windmills. But yeah, man, me and Natalie, we got to go visit her sometime.
Whenever you guys are in
No,
Houston,
you're not allowed to meet Peng because Ian's a friend.
I am not a
Peng,
friend stealer.
Ian's a friend stealer, so
Pang,
I don't want
just-
him to meet you. 'Cause
Natalie,
he's gonna try to
Pang,
steal
just
you.
tell Natalie that I'm cool. That's all. Just
He's
tell
gonna
her.
try to steal you as my.
I'm not gonna steal her just because your friends like me and they think I'm cooler than you. Don't be hating, man.
You'll always be my number one, Natalie.
That's what they say, and then they start talking to Ian all the time.
That's
See?
right.
He's a
'cause
friend stealer.
I'm a cool
You
dude.
may be a close number two. but you'll
I'm a
always be
cool
my
dude.
number one.
That's right. That's right. That's
Well,
cool,
we
man.
appreciate you, Peng. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you,
guys.
Pang. If you guys want to
All right.
listen to our podcast, please subscribe and like, and you can listen to us on all the streaming platforms: iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spreaker. God, what's the other one? Spreaker, Spotify. Please like and subscribe again, and join us as we say bye, Pang.
Bye, Peng. Thank you.
See you later.
You didn't know that
Come on, man. You can't.
Did you hear that?
That was nasty.